We're live here on Renters Radio. I am your host, Lauren Pespisa,
Oh, there's the
sitting here
music.
with Evan George.
Hello, hello.
How's it going?
Fantastic as always. How
We're
you
running
doing?
a little late, which I apologize for. But we have a special guest in studio today, a good friend of ours from Allston-Brighton to talk about all things Allston-Brighton. Met him when I was actually volunteering with his campaign. You've probably seen him on the Young Jerks. He didn't win, but he kind of won because now he's helping out. So without further ado, let's go into it.
Lee, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me. And thank you for allowing me to come in this wonderful arena.
How do you like it?
I like it a lot.
Nice.
Definitely the most comfortable environment I've ever done an interview in.
Yeah, it's pretty laid back.
Yeah.
And now, Lee, did you know that you're the reason that Lauren and I met?
Is this like a dramatic story or something? Like,
So
Not dramatic.
it was very dramatic.
You were the gateway, the bridge,
The gateway
that then
drug,
formed this dynamic duo.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
I'm really
we
excited about that.
actually. Yeah, no, we actually met. Well, we met a bunch of times before that, but I didn't remember you. But but we met at Lee's campaign party, which I call a congratulations party because he also announced he was going to be a father. But it was the primary election party where we were drinking because our candidate lost. But we also decided, hey, why not do a
I drank
podcast?
ginger ale, by the way.
Right.
No.
Kept it very professional. Me and Evan did not, but he did. So we met there, and that's where the whole idea for Renters Radio came.
Cool.
Right
Yeah.
on.
I mean, it's more like you told me you want to do a radio show, and then I kind of just begged you to let me talk about politics. But
Yeah, I
that's
kind of
okay.
just wrote. I'm like, I need a co-host here. I'm gonna rope you in. All right, so that happened. Yeah, I will invite you. Sorry, I'm getting all the social media stuff together. We're a little delayed today because we have all kinds of fancy new technology in the studio.
Yeah, I want to see myself on the TV. Herb.
Heyo.
When are we going to do that? That way I can look at myself not just on my computer screen when I zoom in on my face. I can now look up left and see myself again. Just get me in 3 different angles.
No problem.
No, you're doing great. Thank you, Herb.
All right, Herb's the man. Okay, so let's go into a little bit more background besides my kind of scattering background about, where you started coming from in Allston-Brighton and what you're doing now. I'm pretty happy about what you're going to be doing soon. But when did you ran this cycle?
Yep.
And didn't win the primary, but
Mhm.
then one thing that we all love to see was you putting your full support behind Liz Breedon, who ended up winning. But when did you start getting involved in the Allston stuff? Because you're not from there originally.
No, so originally I'm from St. Louis. I spent a lot of my life in North County, part of the St. Louis area, places like Florissant, Ferguson, and then I also spent my high school years in the South City. I went to a military school down there. I came into Boston because I met a woman in 2008 playing video games. We were playing this game that was based off of that old NBC show Heroes. It was a Facebook application called Heroes. My Heroes Ability, and I met hundreds of people from all around the world, and almost 30 of them I've met in real life in different parts of the world. I've met some of them in Chicago, New York City, Indonesia, all kinds of places. And I met her. And when we met, I was 18 and she was 16, and we were just friends for a couple years. And this is 2008, right? And then 2010, the summer in between both of our junior and sophomore year, she was a undergrad at BU, and I was a undergrad at this small school in Kansas called Ottawa University. And we called ourselves liking each other and stuff, even though we had never met.
Aww.
And so, about 6 months after we called ourselves dating, I came up to Boston for the first time, and the first place I went to was Allston. I went to Packard's Corner. He took me to Packard's Corner, and we went to this Chinese food place called Victoria Seafood. Had some fried veal. And then the next place we went to was Cambridge. We went to this place called Border Cafe. And so yeah, I like Boston a lot, and I like her a lot, of course. So I decided to move up here in 2015 after I went to grad school, and I've been here since.
Wait, is this your wife?
Yeah, it's my wife.
Okay, cool. Just
Well,
it's like
I
then I
hope
broke
so.
up, and that doesn't even matter. But
Yeah.
then I met my wife.
Let me tell you this whole romantic story about this other woman.
Okay.
I knew right then she was the one for me.
Yeah.
But now things worked out. I met somebody else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Awesome. No, that's pretty cool. And so you've been living in Allston kind of since, and then you started to do all this campaign. You've been involved with the Citizens for Juvenile Justice, and now you are, well, not yet, but you're going to be the policy director.
Yep.
For City Council elect Liz Braydon, who represents my district in Allston-Brighton, District 9, and I guess writing all the policy for her.
Yeah, a mix of things. Like I'm also gonna do a lot of housing related items.
That's exactly.
Like there's so much zoning and development happening in Allston-Brighton, in the city in general. And when I was running for office, I definitely want to work on increasing our affordable housing stock. I want developers to be more accountable to the community's needs when it comes to affordable housing, especially on raising the IDP rate. Like even the 20% that a lot of folks focus on, I think is a little low.
Yeah.
But
Would you mind explaining for the audience what IDP is?
Okay, inclusionary development percentage. And it essentially means there's a certain percentage of any major projects in Boston, if it be 10 units or more, they go to affordable housing. So if you get 10 units, at least one of them has to be an affordable unit that is based off of the area's medium income, which is the whole city's income, which isn't very low if it's at 100% AMI. But if it's at a certain percentage of AMI, it can be more affordable for folks because the 100% area AMI is 79K. You have to make around 79K, and then the minimum you can make is like around 62, which is a lot for a lot of people. Like I've never made more than 51K in my life.
Yeah.
And you were actually right at the median of Allston-Brighton. So the average, the median income in Allston-Brighton is $51,000.
Yeah,
and that's a little lower than the rest of the city.
yeah,
from what I've
especially our neighbors in not Mission Hill, Beacon Hill.
read.
A little bit lower than them. South End.
Yeah, it's like it seems like one of the last like holdouts of places where you can find something affordable, though those units might not be affordable.
Yeah.
We good? All right. Let's make it sure. The units in all these new developments going up are going to be there's 70% is what the standard is for how many have to be affordable.
No, only 13% have to be affordable.
13%.
Yeah, in Boston.
In Boston.
In Cambridge and Somerville, it's different. They have a different zoning. Right now, they're at around 20% in Cambridge and Somerville, and it varies also like on the size of the projects because Somerville and Cambridge don't have as many as massive projects,
Right.
But they still have some decent units coming in here and there.
Right. And I mean that seems like a pretty low number to me.
Yeah.
Given, and in fact, that seems like a pretty low or pretty high income that you would need to, I guess qualify for these affordable units.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's that, to me, that's a joke. Affordable housing. Like, okay, we can fight for as many of those as we want. I still can't afford it. Right.
Yeah.
So what do we do about that?
So we have to increase the stock as a whole. And we also have to work on lowering the AMI. Like we can say, okay, we're going to give you 30% affordable. Instead of the 13%, we'll give you 30%, but they're all 100% AMI. So they're all at 79K,
Right.
which is still unaffordable for a lot of people. Or we can give you, say, like 20% of them are affordable units, but the AMI is 50%, which means around like 40, 50-ish K or so of someone's income, they can afford it.
Okay. Does that ever happen?
It happens on occasion, but it's not very common.
Right.
Because developer costs in Boston apparently are very high. Because a lot of places in Boston, they also have to purchase the land. The land itself is the most expensive part. And there are some projects where we
We'll go into
we'll definitely
where
talk
that's
about
not
that
the
later,
case.
where
Yeah.
that's not the case.
Yeah.
But the land itself is like one of the most expensive things because it's a scarcity in places like Allston-Brighton to actually have the ability to purchase land.
Right.
In other places like Roxbury and some parts of Dorchester, Mattapan, there is some land available that right now is sort of being poached. Not sort of, it's definitely being poached up by developers on the prospect of building on.
Right. So, actually, I guess one of the news stories, we should just probably get right into it about Allston-Brighton is the Alston Yards project.
Yeah.
That got approved. A lot of people in your campaign or people, mutual friends of ours, had issues with it because not only did it not meet what it could have for affordable housing requirements, but they rushed it.
Oh,
People say they don't rush it because how long was that planning process going on? How many years? Like 2 years or
yeah, a little bit under 3.
a little bit under 3 years, but they kind of just sped up the approval date, I guess, and everyone felt like they weren't heard. Does that happen a lot? You seen?
I've seen worse.
Yeah, yeah, right. People were up in arms, but it was sort of like they wanted to get done. Though I heard they didn't actually pay that much for that land.
Oh, no, see, so the land that this particular project is on, this land was purchased, I believe, in the 80s or 90s by Stop and Shop. And the land itself increased in significant value because the Boston Landing Station that New Balance built, they invested all the money into the Boston Landing Station. Of course, that increased the value of the land that Stop and Shop had. They didn't put any money in it at all. And so now, because they have such a valuable piece of real estate, they're like, hey, let's build 868 units as well as an office space on this property. And because of that, they're essentially going to make a significant profit without having to purchase the land, which is the main cost. And they still didn't even do 20% affordability that people in Allston-Brighton wanted.
So it's basically going to be like all profit
For the most part,
once it's built. And so what, just for the audience, we're talking about the Allston Yards project. I believe the address is 60 Everett Street. I used to work right around the corner, right over the bridge. I live right around the corner. And basically this was just a Stop and Shop strip mall complex 10 years ago, even 5 years ago. But this whole area is coming up. We've seen a lot of luxury developments like the Lantera, there's a few others there.
Yeah, there's the Boston Celtics and the Bruins practice arenas are right there.
Right.
The New Balance headquarters right there.
Yeah. Also, our old radio station was right there. WEMF and the Sound Museum had a space there on North Beacon Street for quite a while.
Oh, and WGBH is there, yeah.
Yeah, Guest Street, all that stuff. So it's right near there. But that area was like a lot of storage units, a lot of kind of, I guess you could say, underutilized. But it's also in the middle of a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So they're building a bunch of parking too, which people are upset about.
Yeah.
What would you have liked to seen them do different?
There's a long list. So I think there's too much office parking. This is since you just mentioned parking. They're proposing 500 parking spots for the office space alone, which if you have Boston Landing right there, I think that should decrease the number of spots that you need. And so in that small area, if you've been over in that area, there's Everett Street and there's Market Street that you can turn on from there, and also North Beacon.
Right.
There's already a lot of congestion in that area. And so we're pretty much essentially saying we're going to bring in over 500 additional cars pretty much every day to that area of town once that office building is built. So
yeah, those roads can't support that.
No.
And it's not like, so Boston Landing is great because, that accounts for the commuters that are living outside of the city.
Yep.
Right. That's great. But for commuters inside the city, there isn't really a MBT, like a subway station there. There isn't really the T there either. Like you have to make quite a walk to go hit up the Green Line or hit a bus or something. So, I mean, are they going to do anything about that?
Yeah. So in their final proposal, there were some additional concessions made. One of them is increasing investments, $2.5 million investment in MBTA's ability to have more 64 buses come there. And the 64 bus goes all the way to like Central Square. I think Central and maybe Kendall Square. And they'll have the bus come from there to the Boston Landing Station.
Okay.
And so they're going to increase that.
Yeah.
And then we're trying to work on a shuttle. I believe Allston-Brighton. We're trying to. Well, this is like a separate project, but we're trying to work on an Allston-Brighton shuttle. That allows folks to go from like the Green Line and be able to go all around Allston-Brighton to different areas from the shuttle.
That would be nice.
Yeah, it'd be.
I don't have any like buses that are that close to me. You know,
Yeah.
where I live in Brighton, I live pretty close to there, so I would like that. You know, I might actually take it. So it'd be good to see. But I mean, if you know, depending on what kind of does anyone know what kind of offices are going there? What kind of
Oh, it's their headquarters. Like it's gonna be like a Stop and Shop headquarters.
Oh, and ironically, Stop and Shop was like on strike last year.
Yep.
And we all went out to support the Stop and Shop workers strike.
Mhm.
I remember going to the picket lines in Allston-Brighton,
Yeah.
and you know, I guess they finally conceded and everything, and now they go and do this.
Oh yeah, this was already planned. This was already
Yeah.
planned. Yeah, this actually paused that a little bit. Like they tried to have like some IAG meetings when the strike was going on, and you know like neighborhood groups were like, nah, you need to handle that.
Man, that strike just should have gone on longer and like made it about this,
Yeah,
or just like free housing for the Stop and Shop workers. I don't know.
exactly.
Whatever. So, do you know much about like some of the other stuff going on in Allston right now in terms of development? Like this is we're kind of at a point where we can't do too much about Allston Yards, right?
Yeah, it's approved now. Like
Yeah.
they're like just to go over a few more highlights or sometimes some lowlights from the project. We were able to increase the community fund that goes towards home ownership opportunities from 2 million to 4 million. And this is so like folks can afford down payments to potentially have condos or other homes available in this project, or also around the city, around Allston-Brighton.
Okay.
I think right now they're debating on if this money goes to the Brighton Health Marine Center to allocate, which it's the whole thing.
Okay. I know they built a housing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they built a bunch of housing.
Yeah, I'm right
too.
next door to that
Right.
project, and they built like around like 100 units for veterans,
Okay.
affordable units too,
Oh,
workforce housing, affordable units. It's a really good project.
Nice.
I've definitely been a part of it though.
Nice. So it's yeah, you've been watching it out your window.
Yeah, every day.
Well, I mean that's good if it's affordable for you
Mhm.
know veterans and stuff like that. I like that. But so it's $4 million now.
Yeah, it's
not
$4
$2
million.
million.
Yep. And it's over a period of 10 years that they're going to allocate that money. Yeah, it's going to be allocated over 10 years, the 4 million. There also there was a public petition from activists in the community to have the green space or the park area of Allston Yards named after Rita Hester, Allston resident who was killed in the Model Cafe in '98. And so they actually acknowledged that in their BPDA board meeting,
Right.
like proposal that this is something that they would consider doing, naming the park after her.
Right. I believe a friend of ours launched that petition.
Yeah.
And we both signed it around Thanksgiving. I remember
Mhm.
that. That was Rita Hester.
Yep.
Right. A trans or like some sort of LGBT
Yeah, trans
community
woman.
member that got murdered. Which is great to name a green space after a member of the community like that. But I've never seen the green space. I don't know. Hope it's nice.
Well, it hasn't been built yet.
Yeah, it hasn't been built yet. I don't know. You know, it doesn't really. It's nice, but that's an easy thing for them to do.
Yeah.
Like that's an easy way for them to say, "Oh, we named it after your buddy in the community, so you know, like we're good now, right?" Like that doesn't.
Yeah.
I'm not super satisfied with that.
Yeah. It's
I like
something.
that they did it. I know
Mhm.
you signed it. I know I signed it. Like
Yeah.
I'm actually like the third name on that. I signed that early.
Nice.
But yeah, I was going through the documents
Uh-huh.
today. I was like, oh, I'm reading some of the signatures on there and just all the paperwork. But a lot of people, it seemed like, so from what I read, a lot of people also supported this.
Mhm.
I don't know if how much they supported it, but there was a lot of people that wanted this to happen and, you know, sent letters of support. I noticed they were mailers with signatures
Mhm.
as opposed to the well-worded emails that you sent out.
Mhm.
And I don't think they had time to read any of it.
No, I believe it was around like a 400-page plus proposal, came out late October.
Yeah.
And there still were a lot of conflicts. Like the project originally was proposed to be over 1,000 units and ended up being 868.
Okay.
The tallest building part of this particular project was going to be around like 21 stories or so, which is over the actual limit that we have in the area that we're zoned for in the area.
Right.
There's like a whole bunch of like variances, which if folks on variances are pretty much okay. So originally variances on a development project were meant to be something that a developer really can't get around because of the area of the building
Right.
or some just infrastructure issue. But really, most projects now are just the developer doesn't care about the zoning code and they want to do whatever they want, and BPDA is like, okay.
So as variance is like a get out of this rule free card.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
I'm taking a variance on
Yeah.
it. And you okay?
Yeah, like you know what? I'd rather have an extra room so I can charge $3,000 more instead of having green space there.
Right.
So I'm gonna ignore your front yard level of variance and
Right.
just add that room. And
I see.
yeah.
So yeah, this project got approved as is. I guess there were some concessions, but I mean, they don't really. So my feeling doesn't really help me. I don't think it really helps you.
Oh no, I've been bending my cap in frustration. But
What do you have to say? It does. I just don't feel like the homeownership thing
Uh-huh.
is great if you want to own a home.
Yeah.
Doesn't really help poor people like me rent
Mhm.
a nicer place or have access. Like I'm never going to see the inside of this place.
Yeah.
That's what I think every time I see these buildings go up is I'm never going to see the inside of that.
I've been meaning to ask you, do you want to do a open house tour of Lantera with me one time?
Oh, let's do it.
I'm trying to. You remember Vineet from the campaign?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been talking to him about doing that because we used to make jokes about Lantera being
I live right
empty.
there. Is it empty? Because he says all the housing is empty like that.
for the non-AB people, what development are you talking about?
It's another this is a luxury development.
Yeah, this is where like a lot of Celtics and Bruins players like chill at during the spring or like their practice.
I've seen
time.
Maseratis parked out there.
Yeah, like this is like legitimately a luxury.
Ah.
It's like right up the street from my house too,
Yeah.
and I've walked by it. It's got a couple like a pizza place. Like there's a couple. There's that railway,
Yeah.
the New Balance guys restaurant. That's actually surprisingly decent.
But it's like $30 for macaroni and cheese.
Yeah, actually the
so-
macaroni and cheese isn't bad, but there's not that much of it.
Did
It's
you pay
$30.
$30 for macaroni and cheese?
No, I made somebody else pay for $30 of my mac and cheese.
All right, that's fine.
Wow.
As long as you hustled somebody. to
Yeah,
do that.
somebody took me out for that. I don't pay for that.
I would have been very disappointed. In you. $30 for mac and cheese.
It was bacon mac and cheese.
Like,
Okay.
That's half a week of groceries.
I know. Well, I don't go grocery shopping. I just go on dates and get
Uh-huh.
mac and cheese.
Get that expensive mac and cheese.
Yeah, that's how I feed myself. I just get people to take me out.
Yeah.
It works, but yeah, I would love to go in there because I've never actually been in one of these luxury units.
Hmm.
I think I've been in the Victor
Oh, where's that?
up in North End, right
Oh,
across
yeah.
from the TD Garden.
Uh-huh.
I had a friend that like had a place there for a couple months it was completely empty of furniture. It was kind of
Yeah.
funny, but it was like up at the top, and he's like could see everything. But
Mm.
I'd never been in any other luxury unit in Allston-Brighton. I would love to see the inside of these places.
Yeah.
And maybe Squad.
Ain't nobody there.
Yeah, can I just come here to use your bathroom? I don't know. Yeah, we should definitely do that. So this Stop and Shop, they're not going to be that nice though, right?
What do you mean nice?
Like the units, like it's not.
Oh,
Do we know what the pricing on it is?
Oh, they
It's going to be ugly.
yeah, it's not gonna be cheap at all.
Yeah.
Like, this is like the non-affordable units are gonna be pretty luxury.
And the building's ugly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Have you seen it? It's a monstrosity.
Yeah, it's almost City Hall bad. Like,
It's brutalist. It's completely brutalist. If you go to the BPDA website or just type in Alston Yards in like Google Images, you'll get all kinds of crazy, like strange, futuristic in a bad way results. And I don't know anything else on Alston Yards, or let's go to what else we can fight in Alston.
yeah, it's a mess.
Yeah.
No, wait. Did you say they're still trying to get a variance for the height?
No, I think that they're done with all that.
Okay, because I learned something today that like an old what Trump did it for his Trump Towers in New York was you purposely create a horribly looking model of if you let me build it at this size, here's what it will look like, and it's such an eyesore in the community that then they'll allow you to then get a waiver on the variance, so then you can build what you want. That's literally how he designed Trump Towers. So the first thing when you started mentioning how ugly it is, and you started mentioning, but they want to make it taller. I'm like, I know that trick.
Oh, that
I
is the
looked into
oldest trick in the book then.
that.
Yikes.
And then not a funny, but an interesting thing, like if you do make it taller, what I've heard from some folks is it's cheaper material wise for them to make it taller, but they're gonna charge more for those upper floors anyway. So,
I don't know why they would charge more for upper floors because
so it's like like amazing view. Like if you're up 21 stories, you can see anything.
you can see the whole pike from here.
Yeah, exactly.
It's gonna be beautiful.
Yeah, I wonder what is the view. When you
Yeah,
see the
like,
pike.
yeah. I can see the spotlight off the McDonald's on Soldiers Field Road beautifully shining in my room, in my window. Oh my God, yeah.
I see IHOP.
Yeah, I can see IHOP. Yeah, like I mean, I don't know how. Maybe if you can see the Charles, maybe.
Yeah.
But we're not really a view.
Disclaimer: Allston-Brighton is a beautiful neighborhood.
It is. I
There you
like.
go.
But not that highway.
Not the highway, not that area. I mean, maybe if we got some more public art along the side of it, it might make the view a little nicer.
Yeah, it's Allston. I'm all for more murals.
Yeah, definitely more murals, but not like corporate murals.
Yeah,
just like let our friends make murals.
Exactly.
And don't get them in trouble for it. I would like to see that.
Last thoughts just on this project.
Uh-huh.
So, according to the Globe, that there's still some city approvals that I have to go through before this development is like 100% okay.
Oh, wow.
I'm hoping we can, because as you were mentioning before, the amount of affordable housing, and now I'm saying affordable is truly affordable, meaning actually hits the median income of AB, is a pathetic number that'll probably be, if they're allowing, what, is it 15% for this project is affordable?
So
by their definition, affordable.
Yeah. They decided they were able to raise it up to 17 in all the buildings.
17% with their standard of what affordable means.
Yeah, pretty much. Like I think they'll all be like, most of them will be 100% AMI. I have to look into it more, so don't quote me if somebody's like fact checking right now. But most of them be 100% AMI. And originally, before we were able to get it up, they were going to say the first building would be only 13, and then the second building that they would build would be the office space. And then the third building is when they'll start doing the 17% affordability throughout the rest of the project. And we don't even know when that would actually happen though, the third building, because there's a chance of a recession coming in, and that might pretty much delay their ability to even build that building. And at the time, it wasn't anything set in stone for them to actually do the 17% affordability. So it's all like we're going on the grace of their words.
Oh my God. Okay, I have 2 quick points on that. Even though the second one is what you just said, angered me so much. The second is that newly elected City Councilmember Liz Breeden, she opposes this. Both of Allston-Brighton state representatives oppose this. This faced a lot of community pressure, people not wanting this, and yet the BPDA voted unanimously to approve it.
Yep.
Can you, because we haven't, and Juan and I were discussing this, definitely doing a longer episode about the BPDA. I know Michelle Wu wants to abolish it. I know that's something that community groups that I'm a part of have been talking about for years. Very quickly, what's with the BPDA? Why is it that they're approving things that our state representatives and the members of the community are saying we don't want it, yet it gets approved? Can you give us a 60 seconds on just because this is what confuses everyday people. They think we elect people, and the people that we elect make the decisions.
Yeah.
And yet we have state representatives here are saying we don't want this. People in the community are saying we don't want it. And yet we have this other entity that votes unanimously for it, gives Stop and Shop, or whatever this development is going to be. Can you go into the 60 seconds?
All right. The BPDA has more control over housing than your city councilor, state rep, or any elected official except for the mayor himself. The BPDA can set the variances. They approve everything. They can pretty much ignore parts of the process. There are projects that can actually skip neighborhood associations getting voted on and go to the ZBA and the BPDA and get approval in some cases. There are also there are some neighborhood groups and that can still ignore all the comments and vote on these projects. Like the BAIA voted for this project, even though a lot of neighborhood citizens were against the project. And also our current city councilor voted for the project. I guess this is last parting gift.
Oh, Siomo?
Yeah, which went against what the councilor-elect as well as the 2 state reps wanted. And this isn't me pointing out oh, he's a bad person or anything like that. It's mostly there are different ideologies on the concept of what makes best development or what's best practices. And sometimes groups like that feel that they are doing what's best for the community, and they just feel like the community might be misinformed about the topic area.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Is we don't know enough.
Yeah, and that's what the BPDA is essentially saying. We're doing this for your own good.
Oh.
That's the whole concept of the BPDA, because if community is led to be able to control the development process itself even more, like really legitimately control the projects, probably nothing would get built. And that's, in some cases, that's a reality, because there are places where some communities have a lot more control over zoning where nothing is built. Think of Brookline. There is a building in Brookline and Brighton that they share the border on.
Yeah.
I'm not defending the BPDA at all, but you know what I'm talking
I
about.
know the building you're talking
Yeah,
about.
it's like 10 floors on the Boston end, but it's only zoned for 2 floors on the
Right.
Brookline end because it's on the border of Brookline and Brighton.
Right.
And I can understand where there's an issue right there. Like, oh, that's bad.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Brookline's its own world.
Yeah, it's a whole different world.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a bad comparison.
You know,
I was deciding whether or not I was gonna like take a swing at what you just said.
but I do know that building. I've
Yeah.
walked by it many times. I forget what street it's on, but I know which one you're talking about. So I mean, I know that, you know, like we were saying, like abolishing the BDPA comes up and different things. Like, you know, what I mean, honestly, while I was looking into this project and like getting all mad about different projects,
Mhm.
I also really liked their website.
Oh, Allston Yard's website?
No, the BDPA website.
Oh,
They got-
that's cool.
They got maps, they got like timelines, they got like all the information. Like it's really like
It's interactive.
it's
it zooms in.
yeah, you can look at like old
is
atlases overlaid of like
Angering
real
me
maps.
so
Like
much.
I'm sorry,
Hey.
can we can
Hey,
get
evil things can be pretty.
yeah, like I just want to say, like, if whatever happens, can we keep this kind of like functionality in the website?
Yeah.
Because it's actually pretty good. That's
Hey,
the
if we abolish it, we still want that website.
yeah, let's
design.
just like abolish it and redistribute the website. I'll
Yeah.
just like learn it and be the developer for it if I
Mhm.
have to, because I think it's actually a pretty well done site that I appreciate a lot of the features of.
Yeah.
It's the one good thing I want to say. That's where I got to find all these ugly pictures of Allston Yards and get to go through every single commentary on every single project and like see the names of the people that like wrote letters. Like, oh, you supported that?
hmm
You know, like there's 3D data and maps. So yeah, I don't know. Just putting it out there. If we have to do something about the BDPA, let's just try to keep a site as good as theirs.
hmm
Because it's been actually, I think that most people just don't go to it.
Yeah.
You know, like
If more people went to it, they'd see that the BPDA is a great organization that has their best interests at heart. No, we'll just hire whoever that web developer was
Yeah.
to do whatever new community groups we're going to have formed. BPDA sucks. Abolish
Yeah.
the BPDA.
Okay.
I said it, Lee Nave didn't have to.
Okay.
Absolutely abolish the BPDA.
Reform or abolish the BPDA.
Okay.
And the
Definitely
reforms have
behind
to be pretty heavy.
It has to be hip.
It has to be democratic.
Yeah, it has to be extremely democratic. Like, if you're just ignoring the, like it's too much. Like 70% of the revenue of Boston comes from property taxes, essentially. So this means we're paying for this stuff,
Right.
and you can call us ignorant, or you cannot believe that communities should have as much input as they should in development, but they should definitely have their voices heard seriously. And to have all these people at meetings every night in Allston-Brighton especially, we have so much going on, and to have their voices ignored, and for people to be like, oh, it's okay, this is the process, this is how we do things here. Like, there are people on certain okay, I'm not going into that, but there's some questionable things with certain leadership in certain areas that will make you wonder if this process is legitimate or not.
Right.
And I mean, we can bring it up.
Yeah.
I definitely want to. I think want to get you on like some other things.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like the BPDA, they had like a scandal recently with bribery.
Mhm.
We don't even need to approach that.
Yeah, it's
The-
like
But something you just said that I definitely want to highlight and address is that most of how local cities, the budgets are formed are through property taxes.
Yep.
And that puts everyone in a bind because then even if you can have the best intentions at heart, you think, okay, we have to approve this development because then it's going to increase the amount of tax revenue we get, so then we can do better things.
mhm.
However, what ends up happening is that the people that are currently living there will not get those benefits because they will be gentrified and priced out of
Yeah.
the community. And that is the contrast. So when somebody, and I wish I clipped it, but Marty Walsh, he like explicitly said, sometimes you have to do what's good for the people, sometimes you have to do what's good for the city. And what he was doing in his mind was splitting the people who currently live there, but then who could we benefit in the future from tax revenue later on?
Yep.
The people in the city, and that's split.
It's like he doesn't want the people in the city
Yeah,
to
but-
be there anymore.
Because they view it as two different things.
Yeah.
And so what you're saying is a reality that lawmakers have to face. I mean, I'm sure Liz is going to have to like make those type of decisions. I know it is very hard because you need the money to do certain things. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I know Liz has the best. She definitely has what's best for the community at heart,
Mhm.
and that's mostly what I'll say on that
yeah.
topic.
Oh no, I
because
definitely I agree
she-
with that. I
yeah.
agree with that. She definitely does.
There's a reason that we endorsed her, supported her. So I mean, I just hope that it's District 9, right? I don't know how much that can. You have the same vote as everybody else at large in the city council, right? District 9 city councilors.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's just so yeah, same type of power. So hopefully that will help.
Yeah, some of the at large people also sometimes weigh in on these projects.
Yeah.
Like, there was a project at 48 Allston that they were trying to do 2 townhouses and 6 condos in the back. And I don't know if you've been on Allston Street ever, but it's like this terribly small road.
Yeah, it's tiny.
And so, like Flaherty weighed in on this. Anissa Sabi George attended and Michelle Wu also sent one of her aides to the meeting. Like, at large people sometimes weigh in on particular projects, even if they're like
Okay.
smaller, like 8 units.
That's good. And so, real quickly before we get on to other stuff, which will be great, but what else is going on in Allston-Brighton? What other developments are we fighting?
Oh,
Just like a
No.
quick list. I linked I linked bostonplans.org
I'm
so
trying to
people can
remember
look at
them
the
all.
Talk
ugly.
about Harvard. Talk about Harvard.
Oh, Harvard.
Yes.
Swiss bakers. Let's get
Oh, I never been there.
Well, okay, Swiss bakers. So this is what happened. This is what I know for Swiss bakers. Since Harvard is not a government agency by any means, I can definitely go in on them. So about a month and a half ago, there's this monthly meeting called the Harvard Coffee Hour, where community members will essentially talk to the community liaison from Harvard to Allston-Brighton. And we'd have these discussions once a month on a Thursday in the morning, coffee hour. They pay for the donuts and coffee, and then they talk to us and stuff. And I've been attending that for like the last year plus. I wasn't able to go a couple weeks ago when they had it. I had to do something else. And folks showed up to Swiss Bakers because it's always at Swiss Bakers. When they got there, it was locked and closed. It had closed down that day without any warning. And people got there and they're like, what the hell? And so a month before that, a community member and I had actually talked to the owner of Swiss Bakers because he always came around and said hi at the coffee hour, but we talked to him a little bit after. And he told us that there was a major issue occurring where his profits were getting hit significantly. And part of it was due to the construction that was going around them by Harvard. Harvard is also their landlord. He had asked Harvard for a rent decrease. And Harvard had gave him a small minimum decrease, but it still wasn't enough for them to be sustainable. Now,
Right.
there are other issues that I am unaware of, but that is what I know from his mouth of how Harvard didn't really help them enough in a situation that Harvard was partly to blame for,
Right.
because the construction around them was due to Harvard.
Right. So they are closed down forever now?
That from as far as I know, yes.
Okay, because that happened when Papagino's went bankrupt too. Was people showed up to work and they don't have a job anymore. That store's closed. The doors are locked. And I don't know how many others. Is this just one guy's store?
No, it's it had like 4 locations.
Okay, I haven't been there, so I wasn't
Yeah.
sure. It's just like a
Like the
local
Allston
chain?
one's like the main one.
Yeah,
It's the lower Allston one's like it's like real close to the Trader Joe's Harvard College.
yeah, I've seen it.
Geography. You probably won't be able to see it right now because it's like covered.
That's true. They they have a few different places going up around there too.
Yeah.
So
And there's one in North End and I think maybe one in Harvard Square or something. No, not Harvard Square. Somewhere else. Somewhere
Yeah.
in Cambridge. Yeah.
So the rent decrease didn't really help, and everything's kind
Yeah.
of been screwing with this business. That's too bad. They'll probably just put something there.
Yeah. And
Harvard
then,
will.
in Harvard in general, of course, they bought up most of Allston through very secretive means over the years, and like had people selling them the property when they thought they were selling it to like a regular person or some other company.
Right.
So
That sounds illegal.
It's not if you're Harvard.
No, it's strangely not. Like I've heard so many stories about that like I don't know specifically Harvard, but like banks. Because if say if you're an older family, you want to sell your house, you want to move or retire somewhere, but you want another family to move in,
Yeah.
and like that's like that family's priority. These companies will hire people to pose as like, oh, we just want to start a new family, we want to grow up here, like we want to do the notches on the door. They sell it to that person. The next day, they flip it for like a $1 difference, and they sell it to a bank. They sell it to Harvard, and that's what these institutions do.
Yep.
Wait, that sounds like a pretty easy job.
Yeah, if you're evil.
You're
like,
gonna pose a
and you
family
want-
and make
yeah,
money.
no morals.
Do you know how easy it is to make money if like you just have morals and
Yeah.
care?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
guess so.
like-
But
Yeah, go con.
where
like,
do they find these people?
Probably on Craigslist.
Harvard.
Harvard, yeah.
I mean, just
I'm kidding. I love
Ex-
all my friends at Harvard.
It's extra credit.
I love all the people on strike right now.
Yeah.
Yes, we do too.
You know,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, if you're not walking,
Shout out to the strike folks.
Yeah, they're still out there, huh?
Yeah.
Do we have any updates on that?
we do. Let me. I'll quickly.
Okay.
No, I'll quickly pivot to that. So Harvard got in trouble recently. So I mean, for everyone, if you're watching this, you're familiar with this. The Harvard Graduate Student Union, they went on strike officially December 3rd, fighting for third-party arbitration for sexual harassment suits, fighting for increases in their health benefits and increase in pay. They've been on strike since December 3rd. And I guess something Harvard did, which is a big no-no, and they broke the law recently. This is coming from, oddly enough, their own student reporting. So good job, the Crimson kids. And what they basically tried to do was get people to agree to stop the strike in the spring. Basically saying, hey, can you sign on to this now, confirming that you'll be working? So I'm just reading you now from the report from 4 days ago. Harvard may have illegally asked some hiring managers to confirm with prospective teaching staff whether they plan to begin teaching on time next semester, potentially making their employment contingent on a promise not to remain on the strike even if a contract is not yet reached, which, according to labor laws, because Harvard Graduate Students Union, they're a little bit in limbo, but they're part of the United Automobile Workers, you can't do. You can't ask people who are on strike, oh, hey, can you right now pledge that you're going to stop in a few weeks, and because we just want that on paper to confirm? That's a big no-no. So hopefully, I mean, they won't, because we live in this country, but it's an open violation of the law. So they are still striking, and I know they still need people to walk the picket. Their big request is for early morning to stop the shipments, because if you're standing in front of like the new deliveries, the truckers, they won't cross the picket line. But like they need to see bodies there, and then the truck will give you a little toot thumbs up, and they'll just keep going. But they need people to staff. So I know DSA has been trying to get people to show up to that early morning. Just Google around for the specific location. But if you're an early riser, you want to put in your effort.
Or a really late partier and just want to walk home and do a good deed on your way back.
Like how many
Just
undergrad?
It's like 5:30 a.m. Just pass out in front of the delivery.
There's no excuse for like any undergrad who goes to Harvard right now. Like, come on, you should be partying all night. End your night, just lay down in front of where the trucks will go. That counts. I mean, all right, let me disclaimer: be safe. Don't lie down in front of traffic. Please don't hurt yourself. But definitely support them. So F Harvard. Very quickly, to talk about the recent Harvard development that happened is they just won another 14 acres in Allston-Brighton, as you were just saying.
Yep.
They've been buying up properties all over the place. And I love your comment on small businesses, because you have 2 DSA members sitting here right now, maybe one day a third.
Wait. Oh, yeah, you're a DSA.
Wow.
That's right.
Yeah. But this absolutely impacts small business owners.
Yeah.
And so I want the socialists to link up with the small business owners, because, again, all the speculative housing that jacks up their rents, they can't afford it and they close. I'm a fan of small business owners.
Yep.
I mean, I don't really like mini bosses. I'm against that as a concept, but everything that we're saying impacts them too.
Yep.
And we need to start building those coalitions to fight these larger things.
And that's definitely a policy area that we're going to be working on. Like especially like small business tenant protection rights, because there's an example that Liz keeps using recently near the end of the campaign, but she's still using this example of this place called Teresa's Market, a small grocery store / restaurant in Oak Square. It's been there a long time, and the owners, their rent has been increased from $3,000 a month to $5,000 a month with very little notice. And such increases are very common in Allston-Brighton. Like we have a lot of open storefronts in Allston-Brighton.
Just about to try to Google that statistic.
Yeah.
How many people have been walking around just seeing empty storefronts? This is why.
Yeah. When you see that, you know why. Like there are some pretty decent places that have been pushed out of the neighborhood.
Yeah.
We're not Harvard Square bad, but we're getting close.
Someone's gonna put a Target there. Watch.
Yeah.
That's what it'll be.
We'll get a Target.
Target everywhere.
Oh God. Do people call it Target? Is that a thing?
Oh, black people do.
Well,
the more you know.
Shout out to them. That gave me an eye roll, but if that's what you want to do, all props. To stay on the Harvard bashing, does Liz or yourself have any plans about addressing the pilot system?
Oh yeah, we so there was actually a pilot coalition. They put
And can you very quickly explain what that is to our listeners?
Payment in lieu of taxes, which is pretty much nonprofits don't have to pay taxes, but major nonprofits that take up a lot of services from cities, such as universities, hospitals, some museums in some cases, they pay a small amount, usually around like a quarter of what they would pay for property taxes. They pay to the city into a general fund, and this is what a payment in lieu of taxes is. Right now, in 2012, Menino was able to get the universities to agree, the universities as well as some hospitals to agree to pay into this pilot fund. And they're the major ones, such as the Big Four, BU, BC, Harvard, and Northeastern, they haven't paid their taxes. They haven't paid their pilot taxes into the community as much as they said they would, even based on the 2012 rate. And of course, places like Harvard, Northeastern, BU, and BC have definitely bought additional land since then. Their land value has increased since then, so it hasn't been reassessed. And so this is millions and millions of dollars left on the table that the city is not collecting. And this pilot money can go into the general fund and go into so many different programs around the city if we were actually able to get that money. And so the pilot, this pilot briefing occurred last week with most of the city councilor elects as well as current city councilors. They all came together and they heard from this action group who spoke about the need for pilot pressure on these universities to pay their pilot payments. Because the city needs the money, obviously.
Right. Because as you were saying, they use our services.
Yeah.
Harvard for 7 years in a row has not paid what they promised to pay for the pilot system. And that is already, as you said, a fraction of what they should be paying because of their property value. $40 billion endowment, and they're not giving the city their money.
Yeah.
Here's what I want to see happen. They do not get to buy any new buildings. They don't get to do any new development with the city until they renegotiate the pilot system and they actually pay what they're using.
I don't know if that's legal, but I would agree.
we can do it.
Okay.
You don't get to keep expanding. You're already, so now Harvard is going to, again, not be paying property taxes on this because they're labeled as a nonprofit, even though they have a $40 billion endowment. So you just, you don't get to keep expanding.
Pay your taxes, Harvard.
Yeah.
Like, that sounds legal to me. I don't know.
Yeah. So the issue with these universities, like a lot of the reasons why they say they don't pay the pilot payments is because they feel that they have community investments that they do already.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't, it's really like, it's pretty much PR. There's a center called the Harvard Ed Portal in Lower Allston.
Right.
that Harvard puts money in. They do like programming, ceramics classes, all kinds of stuff for like the community and whatnot. And they feel that investing in projects like that have their name attached to it is better than them just paying into a fund.
Oh yeah, the
But
ceramic classes are much better than paying more so we can improve the
yeah,
MBTA.
not
Yeah.
to knock ceramics classes, but I'm not sure ceramics are like a basic human
Well,
right. I think they're great. I love ceramics.
No, well,
Make me as many ceramics as you want, but I would kind of rather have like certain other things.
like even there are some of the universities like BUBC, they have some scholarships that they're supposed to give out to local young people.
Mm-hmm.
They don't actually give them out to as many young people as they're supposed to. Like they'll have like 10 set aside and they give out like 3.
Why?
Exactly.
Does nobody apply? Because can I get one? Like
people will apply, they just won't get it.
Oh, that sucks. Yeah.
And so they say this money is supposed to be for these projects. Like there are a task force put in place for them to spend the money that they're supposed to do, but nothing gets done, or small projects might get approved and whatnot.
Right.
And there's usually only projects that benefit the university as well. Like BC is actually the worst in the city when it comes to paying their pilot. They're like at like 10%. Like it's ridiculous. That's why Newton's suing them, but that's a whole different thing.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, so Harvard I think pays like 75 to 80% of what they promised to pay, which again is already a fraction of what they should be paying.
Yep.
So we're working with a percentage of a fraction. But all right, interesting. I'll look up more about BC. I just love bashing Harvard right now. So.
Well, we got BU, BC, and Harvard, so we got to deal with all 3. Like Harvard just
Sure.
owns so much of Allston. It's just like, yeah.
It's true. Yeah, I mean, what do you have a plan for that?
Oh.
All right,
It's about,
easy, Elizabeth.
Who's got a plan for this?
yeah. So
It's making me mad.
I have plans, but I have to work them out with the city council elect before I can publicly disclose such plans.
Okay.
I'm
I'm gonna keep knocking at the door.
Believe
of all the
me,
stuff you can't talk about. Just like what else is going on?
Yeah. There's some plans.
Good.
Actually, kind of on that topic,
Uh-huh.
What are you and Liz excited about tackling for the Boston City Council? What do you feel about the current makeup of the Boston City Council? Do you want to give us a little bit of a preview of what you two are thinking about going forward in 2020?
Well, yeah, it's this is definitely like people keep talking about this being the most diverse council of all time. We have 8 women on the council. We have Kim Janey gonna be the council president. We have a lot of it's a different look, and it might be a different look, but we have to make sure it's a whole different attitude as well, which I'm hoping folks like Julia, who I know is like a fighter, people like that, Liz, all these kind of folks will be out there fighting the good fight for the people all around the city of Boston. I know Liz is definitely, like she's been a community activist for over 20 years. She's big on housing, environment, but she's a physical therapist, so she's big on like health related items as well. So we're definitely going to be focusing on just a lot of social justice related areas with her time in the council. The IDP rate is something that we'll definitely be tackling first. IDP rate, we're trying to get that at least to 20%. That's like going to be one of our number one goals.
Can you fix the medium?
Yeah, and also work on the AMI. Yeah.
So I was going to ask you, when you say 20%, do you mean 20% truly affordable, meaning based upon the median income of the area, or just 20% up from the current 17?
20% from the current 13 first, and then we'll see if
13.
we can get the AMI as well. Like to actually have AMI based off of the area of town you're in.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah. And there's just so many different areas that like when I look at the different committees, which there's like 15 different committees on the city council, we really could like play like the way the council's committees work are a lot different. If anybody knows like state house committees, because state house committees is like a whole serious thing, like where you're gonna get put and all this. Like you gotta do some backdoor dealing to get on. You gotta get on
that redistricting committee.
Yeah, you gotta make sure
keep yourself there.
Yeah, exactly. Make sure nobody like cuts you out of your own district.
Yeah.
Make sure DeLeo doesn't throw you in the basement. Stuff like that. He knows. He does it.
DeLeo.
But But like with the city council, like okay, so the president of the city council, that person approves who is like either the co-chair or the chair of a committee. But anybody, and they also can approve who's on a committee. But anybody can attend the meetings and they can weigh in on stuff. They just can't vote if they're not on the committee. But there's a lot more freedom on where you like I said, you can attend all the meetings and most likely you'll be able to get on the committee if you ask for it. It's just like the who runs it as a whole. It's more the actual politics in.
What committees is Liz looking at joining?
She's big on the housing, planning, development, also the public transportation, community development, environment. She wants to be the co-chair with Matt O'Malley, because Matt O'Malley was actually like back in the day, Bill Linehan or somebody gave it to him as like a punishment, but he loves it. Like he's the one who got the plastic bag.
Oh wait, what district is he? Matt O'Malley?
6.
Okay.
Yeah, like
I didn't even pay attention to that.
yeah, he's JP West Roxbury.
Oh, okay.
Back of something.
Yeah.
I forgot what is it, back of Michigan.
Okay.
Something there. Yeah.
Nice.
And so she's hoping to co-chair that with him. She also is looking at the Women, Children, and Health committee, which Ayanna Presley actually chaired. I think she pretty much created that one.
Cool.
So she's either hoping to chair that or the environmental one. And she definitely wants, like I mentioned, the housing and public transportation stuff, and also community preservation. Actually, she's hoping to be on that committee.
There's a lot of community to preserve in Brighton, so yeah. I would like to. Guess I'd like to see that. I know that she's at everything.
Yeah.
I see her out there at like the fruit store up the street the other day. Like Johnny D's like, oh hey.
Yeah, she doesn't hide. Yeah. She doesn't hide in a cloakroom.
No, she's there, so that's good.
She doesn't just go to the stockyard.
What other? Yeah, oh God, I've been there like once. What other committees are there besides those ones? Do you know, like that she's not doing?
Oh yeah.
Just like I'm like, what are the weird, obscure ones? Just out of curiosity.
Oh, obscure. There's the Arts, Cultural, and Events Committee, which is like planned. I'm trying to remember the description. It's like the events, like the big events around the city. You help plan those.
I feel like Julia would be good at that. She's like into media and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And then of course there's like the government operations one. That one's huge because they control what actually, like when committees actually get to go to when ordinance get voted on. Like,
oh, okay. So that's just like the admin.
Oh, like they're more than an admin. They're the gatekeeper.
Oh, yeah. Who's the chair of that one?
Flaherty right now.
That's what I figured. All right.
But we don't know who's going to be in the new year.
Okay.
And then there's also, of course, Ways and Means, which controls the money. And our counselor was the Ways and Means chair, I think, for almost 8 years. So
okay.
He controlled the budget.
So it's fun. Because there's a lot of debate about the role of the city council.
Yeah.
Like we have what's called a mayoral strong city. So like the mayor gets to have a lot of power. The actual city council members don't get to weigh in on the actual budget in and of itself. They more just kind of pass it yes or no. So what does the Ways and Means committee do for the Boston City Council?
Well, look, so going back to what you just said, they do get to weigh in. Okay. We've heard from counselors that the way you weigh in is before you go into the process, you need to meet with every single agency within your district and assess what are the needs of your district, such as like it could be small things. Well, they're not small in some cases. Like, do you need a stoplight here? Do you need a speed bump here or whatnot? And like get the budgeting for those items, and then you come to the budget process and be like, hey, this is what I want, and I'm gonna vote no if you don't get at least some of these passed are a part of the process. And some councilors aren't aware of that at the beginning. Like they had that ability because the mayor wants the budget to be passed with unanimous consent. Mm-hmm. And so,
which it almost always is every year.
Yeah.
I would be very curious to see what was the last time there was one no.
Well, it's like in the I don't think in the final version there's usually any no's at all, but it's like there's a process. Like that's why it's like a 3-month long process, because they keep going back and you hear pretty much hearings from every single department in the city, them presenting on their budget why they need such and such, and like you learn so much apparently. And I think what helps us this year is we're going to have more money towards education coming from the state, um, which we've actually been increasing the education budget, but we do decrease in certain areas. Like there's been a lot of school cuts over the years. And so I know, like we definitely as a I know in our office we want to be strong on education, and that's also another committee that she would look at like being a part of in some kind of fashion. She just isn't ready. She doesn't feel like she's ready to be like that's Anissa Sabi George's area for sure.
Right.
But education is something that we want to make sure it has strong support, especially when we have schools like Jackson Man and other schools in Allston-Brighton that need support financially. So yeah.
Good. No, that all sounds great. I have nothing but hopes for everything Liz, with especially you helping with policies and be able to do.
Yeah.
I know I really want the Boston City Council to really use their power. That's something Michelle Wu talked about, and I really hope that she does.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely looking forward to the 2020, 2021 year, see what you all do. I'm sure we'll be here covering you pretty extensively.
Oh yeah, and feel free to call us trash.
I know. I'm gonna say. I'm just gonna give. I'm just gonna give him a hard time.
We're the people now.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I'll probably text you first.
Yeah, just text me first.
Why is this pothole still in front of my house?
Oh, I don't care.
No, sometimes it takes like months.
I know.
Kim Janey told us a story of it taking like 7 months for her just to get a side, like a street crossing, like those the roads,
Yeah.
like the crosswalk or whatever, because government is slow.
Yeah, I know.
And then sometimes it takes like 18 months just to remove a tree.
Yeah. They also ends up being like a gas leak, and they got to tear up the whole road all over again just to fix it on my street, or there's like a crazy car accident. So
So yeah, it's all a slow process, but if it's done right, it's beautiful.
Yeah, you have the power now, kind of.
Yeah, we got the power, sort of.
Yeah.
Even though we're in a strong mayor city, we got the power.
Well, we can fix that at some point. We'll work on that part.
And the revision to the city charter.
Yeah.
That's going to be a big thing. But so the Boston City Council just passed something, I think last night or the night before, or maybe I'm a few days off. I don't know. I'm very tired. But the real estate transfer fee.
Yeah.
Something that I know I was very excited about watching its progress. Do you have any thoughts about how it ended up? Just very quickly, for people listening, it's basically going to be a fee of up to 2% on real estate transactions that are greater than $2 million. It's going to raise about $168 million a year going towards affordable housing.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on it? I know it was originally, they were hoping for closer to a 6%. They ended up at 2%. They kind of lost. They're not allowed to do, I think she wanted what's called a flipper's fee. Like if you sell it within a certain time window, there's an additional fee. Didn't get that. But overall, are you happy with the transaction fee?
I think it's a nice compromise. Like I don't often say, I definitely wanted the 6% myself, but I understand the need for compromise. The issue right now is getting it through the state house.
Yes. Because even though they passed it, if you live in a home rule state, that doesn't matter. And now the state house has to pass it.
So it's like a whole, it's like, hey, one battle with 13, now you got to go against 200.
So will it get compromised even more?
Potentially.
Or they have to vote on it as it is now? Because it doesn't sound like that much money to me.
Oh, 200 million?
Yeah.
That's like too much a year. It's a decent chunk of change.
The 2%?
Yeah,
they can afford to pay more.
2% is nothing.
Yeah, it's nothing. I don't know. It's I know it's a compromise, but I just wouldn't want to see that get chopped in half again.
Yeah,
as it goes forward until it's like kind of a joke.
So our is he yours? I don't think he's your state rep. Who's your state rep?
Moran.
Oh, well, my state rep, Honan.
Yes.
He's actually he's the head of housing at the state house for the house. He's going to be in charge of getting it through.
Okay.
And I believe he's in support of it, which is good in its current state.
Yeah.
And I think that's a strong voice to have in support of that.
Yeah, he's been there for quite a while.
Yeah, it's also election year, so I'm hoping everybody has some energy to get some
Yeah.
things done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep your seat.
Everybody. I ain't just talking about him. I'm talking about everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
make some good changes.
That'll be good.
Absolutely. And I know there's a few city council members that voted against it. Frank Baker, Mark Siomo. I'm not going to ask you to weigh in on this, but on the same article, I saw something that was pretty funny. Just reading a quote from my city council representative, Frank Baker. Once a camel is under the tent, it's under the tent. I don't trust the 2%. My only question is, has anyone ever heard of a camel being under a tent?
Yeah, how does a camel be in a tent?
If you were listening, can you please tell me where that comes from?
Yeah, is that even a thing? I think he was just trying to like pull out like a rhyme and just kind of.
I'm gonna have to talk to him.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
Listen,
I just want to like. It's not even me like being mean or anything. I just want to understand where they came from.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not asking you to
Like,
weigh in.
No,
on
I'm just
Frank
curious.
Baker
Like, that
and
is
the other
an
city council
interesting
member.
metaphor.
I just want to know
Wow.
why would you choose that language?
because it rhymes.
Is he going after a certain vote in the next election, the camel vote? Does he have like a tent company he's trying to pitch? Just what is the end game?
He really said that?
I'm
That's-
reading a direct quote
That's ridiculous.
that I saw last night, and that I'm just like, I wrote down, if it comes up, mention this.
He's like trying to throw out witty one-liners.
What
and just
y'all be talking about in Dorchester?
It's the same. I mean, it's the same game as
Oh,
as Allston-Brighton. It's all housing. It's all
actually,
housing all the time.
we get a lot of info from our Dorchester resident that I can't really bring on camera, but he's
So-
sitting there.
Not only do we have our first guest in studio, but
Yeah.
we have our first like.
We've had a party in here in the background, by the way. What is going on, Herb?
Herb decided tonight was the night to invite all of his friends.
Yeah.
My one friend.
No, you've had more than one friend here,
It's
Herb.
been a rotation.
Yeah.
So, Herb, what's
it's a live
that?
studio audience.
What's that development in Dorchester you're always talking about called? You and Oompa.
Talking about dot block, or what you were telling me about in your neighborhood?
Well, I brought up a couple, dude, because there are quite a few. There is a development going on over at the old Bayside Expo there by UMass.
Oh.
There is also the old Boston Globe.
Yep.
Headquarters over there, or what was the printing building, whatever it was, with on Marissa Boulevard. There's also one over there by the Burger King on Don Ave that's been getting a lot of talk lately too.
And that is one.
And of course South Bay just went through that, and they're probably going to add another 400 units in the South Bay too. I think where the mobile store is over there, that side by the highway. There's a lot of development going on in Dot.
Yeah,
Pretty cool.
And if you
It's pretty cool. We
and-
love it. Gonna live in one of those condos, aren't you, Herb?
Yeah.
Saving up now.
Yeah. If you live in Dorchester, you want to join the fight, Dorchester Not for Sale. Normally have meetings third Thursday of every month. I think we might take a break because this upcoming Thursday is like 2 days after Christmas. But we'll be back in January.
Come on, be real dedicated. 27. Yeah.
Yeah. I got to work on the 27th, so.
I originally had a meeting planned for December 25th because it's like every other Wednesday or whatever that is. And I told people, y'all want to do it, I'll do it.
Really?
That was more just my way of flexing, just to
Oh, yeah.
show my dedication. I probably would have passed. and
Eat
not
that
done it.
Chinese food together.
All right, it's 10:17.
All right, how we feeling?
I was gonna say because sometimes we take a break. I have some MBTA stuff, but we can always get into that next week. I'm gonna let the
All right.
host decide.
All right. So, let's see. I got a couple things. What else do I have? I don't know. I was talking about Allston Yards a lot. That's mostly what I was thinking about today. I don't know. I got a couple. Actually, so here's the thing that made me happy.
Uh-oh.
Doesn't really have to do. I know, right? Doesn't really have to do with Lee, but you're gonna love it
Uh-oh.
because
I'm scared.
I know I've been doing the landlord horror story every week
Uh-huh.
and like actually finding them for my friends. DSA, unknown to me, I didn't tell them to do this. They are not my personal army, put out a great hashtag landlord horror story like this week. So I don't have to do any work no more. I just get to go on Twitter and pick the best ones.
And
Yeah.
also, for the record, I had nothing to do with this. So shout out, I'm going to assume the Housing Working Group or the Housing
I think it
folks.
was, yeah.
Great
So
job.
here's a couple fun ones that I came up with that are either relatable or ridiculous. And, they're in tweet form. So we got some small bites here.
Yeah.
At Kyra Martin, discovered bed bugs and fleas a couple months into moving to a new apartment. Spent the night in the hospital and $25,000 due to cellulitis. No, $2,500 bill due to cellulitis from a bed bug or flea bite. Landlord didn't do anything about them the entire year we were there.
Ugh.
That's kind of an icky one.
That's awful.
We also got at Sugarblind, 16 years old, black mold in my bedroom closet next to my bed. Sick all the time, migraine, URI, general ill health. Landlord did nothing. Then I accidentally burned the place down, so I guess in a way I solved the problem. Shout out to you, Sugarblind. We got another one. It's common enough that it barely even qualifies, but everyone's seen their landlord try to fix black mold with a fresh coat of paint. We all know how that is. We all seen that. Here's another one from Colby Rourke. Piss started pouring through the light fixtures in the bathroom of our Chicago apartment. Called the landlords multiple times the following days after putting towels everywhere to catch the piss, and they never responded. Eventually, it stopped.
That's terrifying.
I just, you wouldn't. That sounds like the plumbing nightmare that I don't know. That's just, that's probably my worst nightmare. I don't even really know what black mold's like, but
no. So
It kills you.
yeah, that'll kill you.
yeah, I guess I would know if I had it, right?
Oh, well, yeah.
Okay, I'd see it.
It's
Yeah,
like
let's hope so.
Okay,
it's worse than smoking.
okay, all right.
You're literally breathing in like poisonous fungus.
Ugh, that doesn't sound pleasant. I've definitely been moving stuff out of the basement, and there were some strange bugs that bit me before. I did not like that, but definitely never had urine rain from the ceiling. I thought that only happened on cruise ships. So I thought that was a cruise ship problem.
Why does that happen on cruise ships?
I didn't know that happened though.
Yeah, well, only straight cruises. Like
Straight cruise?
Yeah, like Carnival cruises and stuff.
Oh.
Like it happened and it got stuck in the middle. I don't know, like of the ocean, and there was like fecal matter in the walls, and everyone was like, yeah, you can look it up. It happened. It was like one of those Carnival cruises, but it wasn't like the gay ones.
Oh, sorry.
So all my gay friends can safely go on cruises.
I apologize.
Okay, so those are
Okay.
more hygienic.
Yeah, they're more hygienic, believe it or not. So they just, take care of their plumbing better, because it only happens on the weird Carnival or Norwegian or whatever. I don't think Norwegian. I forget the exact. I think it was Carnival. It was down in the Bahamas or something.
Allegedly.
It was
So-
one of the ones where like old people dance in the commercials.
and if you run a cruise ship company, you can't sue us because it's all speculative and
No, it was in the news. You can go look it up. The cruise from hell where there's poop in the walls.
Shout
okay?
out Norwegian Cruises.
Yeah, I just don't remember
if
the
you want
brand.
to throw me a cruise, I will
But
back you.
I've never had my ceiling rain piss. That would be terrible. The last one is actually a small business one. I own a small restaurant in NYC. 18% of our sales is rent. 80% of what we pay is home rent, and roughly 40% of our employee income is rent. So 40% of our sales goes to a landlord. If we count what our farmers pay, it becomes almost 50%. So landlords take everything. I don't know. Those are some of the best ones this week, but
Just think of the name landlord and what that implies.
it's a lord.
You're the lord of you're the lord of land. Like, I just hate the name.
I know. I was actually listening to a NPR. I was in a lift somewhere the other day, and they were playing us something on NPR, and it was like a landlord's perspective on the time he had to kick out a tenant who had like an alcohol problem or something. But he also, at first I was like, oh, this is a sad story, and then I hear him say that he had 100 units in his building. I'm like, you want me to feel bad for this guy?
No, my dad had to do something like that back in the day.
Yeah, but like 100-unit building.
Yeah, his was 2.
Yeah, exactly. Like I really I'm sorry. Like, you're kicking somebody with a problem to the cold, and you don't even need the money because you got 99 more units.
Actually, it wasn't even his fault. I think it was Section 8 kicked her out. Okay.
Oh yeah,
So it
yeah.
wasn't his
See,
fault.
your dad's cool. We love your dad. Your dad is redeemed. But yeah, I'm not really a big fan of them.
Does that mean I can right now get you sign on? You and Liz abolishing private property 2020?
Oh, I can't speak for the city councilor like Liz.
I'm
did.
joking. I would never ask you to sign on to that yet.
I haven't signed any paperwork though, so technically I'm a citizen right now. No.
If this was the Young Jerks, I'd start asking you questions about like equality in dispensaries and all that stuff. But I still am not up to date with what's going on in Allston-Brighton for that. I know. It's
Like,
usually frustrating.
Yeah, like I don't know. There's like I've been to some of the proposals for certain projects, but I don't know how they're standing right now.
Right.
Like I know this one guy. He's real cool. This guy named John Liu. He owned the 2 vape shops, the one in Oak Square and the one in
Right.
Cleveland Circle. And he was hoping to change the Cleveland Circle, and he actually bought the Cleveland Circle one to change it into a pot shop.
Yeah.
But then the vape ban happened.
Right, right.
And so I actually I gotta follow up with that guy.
Yeah, you
See
should.
how he's doing.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that just ended the vape.
Yeah, I think
vape ban.
I think they did
Yeah.
ban it. They ended the ban.
And then it ended, but then like pretty much most of their business is gone anyway.
Yeah.
It's like I don't even know what they're selling right now.
Yeah, I mean, I thought they shut down, but maybe just cigarette vapes or something.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then we also banned menthol cigarettes.
Yeah, that was weird. That kind of just happened.
And it was like, hey, let's ban Newport.
There was supposed to be there was supposed to be a protest about that. Like my liquor store guy was like, "Hey, did you see this? You're into politics, right?" I'm like, "Wow, can't get to that,
Yeah.
but that's weird and random."
We banned the most black cigarette.
Yeah, it's kind of racist. It's like literally the favored cigarette of. Like,
Oh, I'm sorry, friends at the State House. I'm supposed to not say that. My bad. You know what you did.
Listen, it's also the
I know it's bad
cigarette.
for you. I don't want it.
It's the cigarette of choice in rehab too.
Yeah.
So think of all these girls. That's all they got.
Mhm.
Just got a rehab. Need their Newports.
Yeah.
Because that's also I think the most commonly chosen cigarettes. So I hate them though. But
I mean, we really haven't gone into those bans. I find the whole thing like bizarre and very hard to follow.
It came out of nowhere to me.
yeah,
And I know Baker was saying like, "Oh, I'm really surprised there was such like a
Thank you.
flack to it, and like I thought other states were going to follow my lead."
Yeah.
It
Nobody
and
did.
I mean, I will always look at things materially, and I'm just like, there's so much money right now in vape industry, like
Yeah.
it just and like banning menthol cigarettes and all that, like it very bizarre, and I can't trace the purpose or reasons of that.
Yeah, it's like I'm sure New Hampshire cigarette dealers were like, "Oh,
sweet. Yeah,
thanks."
yeah. Just like all the weed shops up in
All right.
Maine.
I'm still not on the clock for this whole city council thing yet. This is an extension of the drug war. Let's be completely transparent, folks.
The
I agree with
cigarette
that.
thing, the Newports.
Yeah.
Why, dude? Isn't like most nicotine grown in America, or at least the popular one?
Yeah.
So why would they be attacking cigarettes?
Why one brand?
Yeah,
One flavor.
Only the menthols.
How widespread is this attack? Is this only a Massachusetts thing?
Yeah, Massachusetts. Yeah, we're completely by
Like
ourselves on this.
who came up with that? Like who decided to just do it? It just seems like who pushed that out of nowhere one day.
Let me turn on my mic.
Like, okay, we do recognize it is a health issue, of course. People have gotten a lot, but hasn't the number of smokers actually decreased?
I'm one of the last
That's
of us.
something I heard. I'm a frequent cigarette smoker, dude. So
Mhm.
like for years I've heard that it's just something when you there's such a stigma against cigarettes, dude.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
kind of funny, dude. So it's like it's not a stigma because it's like very unhealthy. But like that's what I heard over the years is that cigarette smoking is actually going down, dude. It's not as popular as it used to be.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's absolutely not. I can't even just have automatic friends anymore because no one else smokes.
Well,
Everyone
you
just
know
gives
what?
me
They
funny looks.
banned Newports and no one started a riot. So
Yeah.
Right, that's true.
Because if this
Yeah,
if this
so
would
the
have happened in
reaction is really-
'95,
You're right.
they would have burned down Boston if this
yeah,
happened in
dude.
'95.
Like, are you kidding me? Well, I don't know. Well,
I mean, we
I
do
can
that
see
at
it. I
sports
can see it
games. So
happening.
yeah,
I can see
yeah.
it happening, dude.
Yeah.
So, like, you know what, dude? They banned menthols, dude, and nobody fucking burned down the building, so I guess it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Probably the way it fucking all works out. Eventually, it's just fucking go out of style and no
Stop
one's gonna
swearing
give
on
a
my
shit.
radio show, Herb.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry.
There goes the rating.
Well,
I know.
I mean, it's just odd because like it's missing out on millions, if not tens of millions of dollars in terms
There's
of
a lot of
tax
money.
revenue
Okay.
that you
Yeah.
get from taxing
We'll
cigarettes.
settle for another cigarette brand.
It's bizarre how that happened. I would love for more investigative journalism to look into.
Hey,
why
young
that-
jerks, do it.
Yeah,
Get
no,
into that.
curious.
That's your
Um,
specialty.
However, we have some Renters Radio researchers listening.
Oh wow.
Okay.
So somebody responded to the call. What does it mean to have a camel under the tent?
No way.
Not kidding.
Oh, what is
All
it?
right, so the origin. Apparently, an old Arabian fable where a camel, after poking his nose into a tent, was allowed in to seek warmth. Then, as camels are stubborn, wouldn't leave. The phrase has a few forms. The camel's nose is in the tent, is under the tent too far. Basically meaning that once you allow a camel into your house, into your tent, it may never leave.
Sounds like most of my relationships.
But the first sighting ever in print in the United States was in 1958. So, yeah, City Council member Frank Baker, definitely staying current with the times. Shout out to Frank George, researcher underground, to look into the origin of that.
Is that your
fable.
dad?
That is my father.
Oh man, your dad's the best. I wish my family did research for me. We actually got the link to the cruise ship full of poop, by the way.
Oh, somebody did that.
Yeah,
too?
yeah, that is in the
Wow.
yeah, my buddy Zach. That's in the it was here's a
Yeah,
link.
out there Googling tonight.
Yeah,
Yay.
we got listeners. We don't have the phone lines open, but I don't know if we have time.
No, I was gonna say
Carnival Triumph.
Okay, good. We won't
It
get
was
sued.
Carnival.
So yeah, Norwegian cruise ship, sponsor us. We'll just we'll
Yeah.
mention your enemies, your competition every show. Just
Yeah.
put Lauren and I on a cruise. We'll podcast live. That'd be great.
Sounds good. Right?
Yeah, I would podcast from a cruise, but it'd have to be a gay cruise.
Oh, apparently it's the more hygienic.
Yeah, I don't trust the straight ones.
Okay.
Not after that.
It's like that movie. What's that Cuba Gooding Jr. movie with like Eva Mendes? I think it was like Boat Trip or something like that, where he actually pretended. Like,
That's not a movie.
That sounds great.
No, I swear. No.
That sounds awesome.
No. This was an actual movie. It was like a really like terrible movie, but he was in there. He pretended like he was a gay guy the entire time on a gay cruise just to get with her.
Evan,
Yeah.
I think we found our field trip.
Yeah.
I love the trajectory of this conversation so far. We've gone from like
Wine-
Allston-Brighton housing development.
Wine appeared in
And
my
now
hands.
Is Boat Trip a
It's
real
Boat Trip.
movie?
I have to look it up. I can't remember if that's the name.
It
of
is Boat Trip.
Lauren
I
just
just looked it up.
I saw it on the computer.
Yeah,
2002.
it looks awesome. It looks awesome.
Yeah,
So.
I had it on a non. I'm not gonna go there.
Yeah, probably for the best.
Yeah.
It's okay. That's how I get all my content.
I
too.
gotta say, this is kind of a very high bar for our first live interview, because we hit a large spectrum of topics.
Yeah, but it was fun. Plus,
We-
Lee's the guest of honor.
Yes.
Because we have a history, and seeing his campaign and seeing Liz's win, but Lee still kind of won because now he's policy director and everything works out and everybody's friends and I live there and it's gonna be great. And then to have you on the show, I really appreciate it. Just hanging out and talking about boat trips and talking about affordable housing. That's what we do here. Is there anything else you are dying to get to today?
No, I'm not. We're going to save the MBTA breakdown. The general manager had an interview recently, which I found very objectionable, but that's going to be a much larger conversation
Yeah.
on the MBTA.
And then
18
next,
million.
yeah, that's.
Um,
And then
luckily, everyone is taking a break. I'm done with socialism in 2019.
he's,
I might blow off a meeting that I'm supposed to go to on Wednesday because everyone takes the holidays off.
Yeah.
So
we're not taking next week off.
Oh no, we're not.
We have
taking
a
it off.
special blowout episode.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we have a WEMF Miss special. We got Ben Simon. We got Sophia Bell. We got callers that have moved away. All the people from the old space that was kind of like this space from
Hey,
EMF.
You might be kicking me out of that episode, right?
No, you can hang out like Oompa and Amanda.
Oh, nice.
I want you here.
All right, I get to be the Oompa in the corner.
You hung out with like the same crew at
You
the
just
holiday
arrived.
party, so
You're
it's
just
okay.
alright.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Oh god, my Uber driver won't leave.
Basically.
So because everyone's taking the holidays off, and I hope if you're listening, happy holidays. # War on Christmas.
Yeah.
Happy holidays. I don't have plugs. Besides, we already mentioned, go to the Graduate Student Union strike. Keep supporting them. And yeah.
Tune in next week.
And also keep following the Weymouth Compressor Station. There's been a lot of arrests. Maybe for the EMF radio, I'll call in the corner. But I think they've arrested over 10 people now.
It's been like every day.
Wow.
It's been every single day they get out there. It's really admirable.
So if you have the time in the next 2 weeks, I know because my meetings are going to get canceled, I get to spend more time on the picket line. So I'll be going to the Harvard Graduate Student Union, as along with Weymouth. Just check the Facebook. I'll try to post any events, so follow us, like us on Facebook. Email us your horror rental stories over the holidays in case anything happens.
Lee, you got anything else before we wrap up?
Anything to plug? Anything you want to shout out?
So yeah, definitely. If you're interested in learning on some Allston-Brighton related items, definitely you can follow me on Twitter at NaveWaveAB.
The Nave Wave.
I'm
Never
also that
dies.
on Facebook and I think Instagram, but don't follow me on Instagram. I don't really like take photos of myself. I'm a terrible Instagram model, so
Your Instagram is better than our Instagram. Which-
You're in charge of all social media. I can't do any of that stuff.
I think after I turned 30, I just got bad at social media. It was
Yeah.
weird. It was just like this automatic thing. I used to be great, and then just
boom.
If you are listening and would like to intern with Renters Radio as a social media operative,
Oh,
it's a great way to start.
Social media.
We can't pay you.
I can
but-
pay you in beer. I will throw beer down for that cause.
I need to check on my Bebo page and my MySpace page.
Your
See if
mom,
there's
yeah, gotta clean that up.
someone- Clean that up.
Oh man, take down those old dating profiles.
Yeah.
Make sure nobody digs those up. Yeah.
But
So-
awesome.
Thank
No
you both.
events, no plugs.
No, thank you
Oh.
for coming in.
Hey, inauguration, January 6th.
Yeah,
The most progressive city council of all time.
yeah,
We'll be going
diverse,
into Boston.
progressive.
Yeah. So inauguration, January 6th. Definitely try to come out for that. We don't know the exact location yet.
What day of the week is that?
I think it's Monday.
Oh, we won't be here Monday because we actually, yeah. So we're doing a show next week. WEMF Miss Special. Herb's taking a much needed vacation down to some kind of gamer thing in
Enjoy
DC.
I'm gonna be working a little bit though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing some stuff, and we'll be taking a week off. We might make some special content. Maybe we should check out an open house and post it that day. Lantera.
the
Yeah,
Lantera.
let's do a live stream. It'll
Yeah,
be fun.
that'd be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be great. And more maybe we'll
I'll
go.
pretend I'm, like a linebacker or something.
Yeah,
Like a
right,
searching
right,
linebacker
right.
for the Patriots.
Yeah, I'll put
Yeah.
on glasses and be like some kind of like managerial type.
Yeah, yeah,
That'd be great.
I think me posing as a hockey player is probably going to be the best.
Oh,
bet.
yeah. Put it in one of those things where it makes it seem like you're missing some teeth,
Yeah, right.
But
Good.
definitely thank you for coming in. I mean, in some ways, without you, at least I wouldn't be sitting here. Lauren may have found a better co-host.
Yo, Evan, I'm so glad I found you.
Exactly.
But
hey,
I-
all thanks to the Nave Wave.
Yeah,
That,
yeah. It
Yeah.
all took one conversation at Casacana and
Sakana.
then me being like, hey, want to do a podcast? And he's like, yes.
Oh, please let me talk about politics.
Yeah.
please let me do it.
So,
Awesome.
yeah. It was-
Do we have an exit song? Anything queued up? With the producer laughing.
Yes, I got something.
All right.
Alright.
Set us out, Herb. Herb is dying laughing right now. Barely composing himself.
Sorry. All right, here we go.
All right.
Okay.
Are we still live?
No.